seems to stand still as the zebra slowly pass before one and then another of the crouching hunters. The zebra are crossing this area to graze near a large herd of wildebeest. Now, one lioness begins to move toward the zebra. Nearby, the entire pride is waiting for the moment to charge. Both wildebeest and zebra now seem to sense the presence of danger and barely move, uncertain from which direction an attack may come. Then, as if spectators at a sporting match, the herd watches as the lion attacks. Lions are slower than zebra and wildebeest and are only about 30% successful, even when hunting in a group. After resting, the pride prepares for another attempt. The dominant female heads off in the direction of a large herd of buffalo. Extremely dangerous, the African water buffalo can weigh as much as a ton. The males gather around the periphery of the herd, and the females and calves stay closer to the center. Seldom do one or two lions attempt an attack on a small herd of buffalo, or even on a single member that is feeding alone. But on occasion, whether they are truly hungry or just young lions practicing their hunting skills, such an encounter happens. It is seldom rewarding for the lions. Suspicious, short-tempered, and cunning, the buffalo is a formidable adversary and are extremely aggressive when confronted by a lion. In such short grass, the lions come as close as they can. Then they attack. The buffalo are quickly outrun by the lions. It's not a fair match. 2 lions and 3 buffalo. The lions quickly break off when the buffalo turn to confront them. Closer to the lake, a larger herd is peacefully grazing. Here the grass is higher, which affords the lion better protection from being seen. Working as a team, the pride takes up position along the edge of the buffalo herd and move in. Surprised, the herd bolts, then just as quickly whirl around to face their attackers and counterattack. The buffalo chase after the lions, who are now fleeing for their lives. Finally convinced that the danger is over, the buffalo move back to the marshy ground at Lakeside. The lions, too, return to a less dangerous task. The lioness and her 2 yearlings, who have taken up sanctuary in a tree, also rejoin the pride. Late at night, the pride, hungry and on the prowl, move, cubs and all, to a better location for hunting within their territory. The dry season is well advanced, and the lake has lost nearly all of its water. Crossing the dry lake, the female carries one of her cubs, while 2 others try to keep up. Somehow, the pride passes too close to a herd of buffalo, who try to trample the lions. In a valiant effort to protect the cubs, the lioness dashes at the buffalo, and then runs back to her cubs, trying desperately to guide them to safety. Over and over she rushes at the great beasts, but the buffalo will not scatter and continue to charge the lioness and other members of the pride. Dawn finds the savannah calm, with no signs of raging buffalo. The pride has sought the shelter of a secluded spot. The only animal now in view is the lioness as she searches for her cubs. Time after time she calls, but the cubs have disappeared, trampled by the buffalo herd. On the prowl again, the pride spots a lone buffalo feeding in the high grass along the edge of a swamp. Separated from its herd, a single buffalo is still extremely dangerous and must be approached with caution. This large male, with its ear torn from either previous attacks or thorn bushes, is joined by a wattled starling who makes a meal from the ticks that infests the hide of the bull. Deciding to attack, the pride begins to stalk the bull. Struggling from the combined weight of the two lions, the bull stumbles. The other lions leap on him, robbing the bull of its strength. A yearling bravely joins the fight and attacks the bull's head. Other buffaloes approach to drive the lions away, but the lions are not easily dissuaded. Having drawn blood, the lions continue to pursue the injured bull. Its weakened condition gives them a chance of making a kill. The injured bull seeks refuge in the swamp, but the lions hold their position at the edge of the herd. The lions leave the dead buffalo and head toward shore for a long rest. Great clouds begin to build over the crater as the dry season gives way to the wet. Lying at 3 degrees south, just below the equator, the Ngorongoro has only 2 seasons, wet and dry. November is the beginning of the wet, and as the rains fall, the season of renewal begins. Now the entire crater ecosystem absorbs the life-giving moisture, and the parched ground bursts into life. For all of the animals of the crater, it is a time of patient waiting until the rains stop. Wildebeest, Grant's gazelle, lion, all soak in the cool rain. Within a week, the crater will turn green, and a carpet of yellow flowers will cover the savanna. With the gray dust of the dry season finally settled by the rain, the crater puts forth the sweet, earthy smell of a new spring. The sun bursts forth to disclose the broad green carpet of the crater floor. Now the lake will fill, frogs emerge from the mud, and millions of insects issue forth as a banquet for the thousands of birds that quickly return to this extraordinary valley. African spoonbill preen each other's feathers as a black-winged stilt probes the shallows for tiny aquatic organisms. Each day, rain falls on the crater and the grass. The primary energy source for all animals grows more lush. Tissue paper flowers poke up through the thickening grass, and the herds of wildebeest and zebra graze across the crater floor. A few hours old, the young wildebeest are on their feet and able to run with the herd. Theirs is a cruel world, where speed and agility is the only defense against the lion, hyena, and cheetah. With their umbilical cords still hanging from their stomachs, the young wildebeest cavort, while another newborn, less than an hour old, stays close to its mother's side. Close by, a female and calf share a small stream with a flock of sacred ibis. The female is ever cautious of marauding carnivores. Near the service road that crosses the crater, a female lion with 3 cubs has emerged from hiding and is slowly moving to rejoin the pride. Young cubs like these have bluish-gray eyes for the first few weeks after birth. Then their eyes turn an amber color. Between the periods of rain, the pride sleeps in the midday sun. Although cooler than the dry season, here at the equator, the days are warm and pleasant. With plentiful game, the lions are well fed and peaceful. Hidden from view of the pride, a young male has been in hiding for over a week, nursing injuries received during a hunt. Now it emerges, its hind leg obviously swollen with a festering wound. Slowly, it approaches its mother, the lion which has just had the 3 cubs. Although she recognizes him, she is fearful and backs away, not quite sure what is wrong. Lions are very cautious of unusual behavior among the members of the pride, and usually will drive a sick or wounded member away. Another lioness rebuffs the injured male with a cuff of its paw and then snaps with bared fangs. Then the entire pride moves its location, leaving the young male to fend for itself. So weak it can hardly care for its wound, the male is no longer able to live with the pride. At nightfall, the pride will leave the area, and the young injured male will be left defenseless against a hyena attack. For millions of years, the cycle of life has played out in the Ngorongoro crater. From its western rim, the land stretches out toward the Olduvai Gorge, where Lewis and Mary Leakey found the remains of some of man's oldest ancestors. Farther on, at Laetoli, Mary Leakey found footprints that were left in damp volcanic ash some 3,700,000 years ago by 2-legged, upright walking primates, or hominids, possibly one of mankind's earliest ancestors. Looking at these prehistoric footprints, one can see where the 2 creatures, one possibly male and the other a female carrying a baby, had stopped and turned, as if sharing a moment of doubt. Man has shared the planet with animals for only a very short time. Early ancestors of the great cats and other animals of the crater lived in Africa for many millions of years before the emergence of any form of pre-human. Yet in the last 100 years, man has so altered the environment that thousands of species of animals, birds, fish, reptiles, and plants are extinct. Today, the nations of Africa share a common dilemma. The need for more farmland has reduced the once great herds of wild animals that roam the continent. However, since the end of World War II, much has been done to establish national parks in order to save the remaining unique species in Africa. This is the legacy of the Ngorongoro Conservation Area. Controlled in part by the crater's 2,000-foot-high rim, most animals are still free to migrate in and out of the crater. A young female slowly climbs up the rim to seek another pride outside on the Serengeti Plain. No one will know why she was forced to leave. But the life of the crater lions will pass on from one century to another, as long as modern man is aware of their fragile existence and is willing to exercise care. The infinite beauty and variety of the natural world is mankind's greatest treasure. All must exercise great care to preserve the environment and all of nature's creatures. Symbol of strength and majesty since the beginning of recorded history, the lion has always commanded man's respect. For centuries, it was considered an act of courage to kill a lion, and only recently have certain tribes given up the practice of a young man killing a lion as his rite of passage into manhood. Still free to roam the Ngorongoro crater, the lions are protected by the government. Located in the Arusha region of northern Tanzania, southeast of Serengeti, the Ngorongoro crater and its wildlife are one of the world's most beautiful sights and must be preserved.